Hello everyone. Today we are going to discuss a very beautiful poem written by P.B. Shelley. P.B. Shelley is a revolutionary poet of a romantic era. He is known for his liberal ideas and his idealist temperament. Now he has written this poem Ozymandias in a sonnet format, and this poem was published in 1817 by P.B. Shelley. Now, Ozymandias is a sonnet written by the English romantic poet P.B. Shelley, and Shelley has published this poem in 1817. The title Ozymandias refers to an alternate name of the ancient Egyptian pharaoh Ramses II. Actually, this pharaoh Ramses II was alive around 2100 BC. In the poem, Shelley describes a crumbling statue of Ozymandias as the way to portray the transience of political power and to praise art's ability to preserve the past. Although the poem is a 14-line sonnet, it breaks from the typical sonnet tradition in both its form and rhyme scheme, a tactic that reflects Shelley's interest in challenging conventions, both political and poetic. So, although this is a poem of 14 lines, but this is not sonnet in true sense because this has not followed either the rhyme scheme or the stanza format. So now let us come to the text of Ozymandias, which was written by P.B. Shelley in 1817. Actually, Ozymandias is a Greek word which refers to the ancient Egyptian pharaoh Ramses II, who ruled Egypt around 2100 BC. So, the text of Ozymandias. I met a traveler from an antique land. Now it seems to us that Shelley met some traveler and that traveler has visited the antique land. Now antique land refers to Egypt. Who said, two vast and trunkless legs of stone stand in the desert. Means perhaps some statue was there in the desert, but now that statue has been disfigured and there are two legs and that legs are standing somewhere in the desert and the trunk is nowhere nearby that leg. Near them, now near that legs on the sand, half sunk a shattered visage lies. Now it appears as if that the head was lying somewhere nearby that leg, whose frown, now when the traveler tries to investigate the face, now this is the legs and nearby that leg the face is there and the entire statue has been disfigured, and wrinkled lips and sneer of cold command tell that its sculptor will those passions read which yet survived, stamped on these lifeless things. Now that traveler is in fact telling what he came across after visualizing that transfigured statue. The traveler is saying that when he tried to read the passions which was there, which is still being reflected from the visage or from the head of that statue, he come across the fact that perhaps the sculptor who had made that statue has captured beautifully the passions and the sneer and the command and the wrinkles of the king or that of Ozymandias. And wrinkled lip and sneer of cold command till that its sculptor will those passions read, which yet survived, stamped on these lifeless things. Now, although more than 2000 years has passed, But the traveler has very easily spied on these emotions which was reflected on the face of that disfigured statue. The hand that mocked them and the heart that fed. Mocked means imitated or copied. So the traveler says that perhaps the sculptor or the statue maker has very beautifully copied or imitated the passions and the reflections which was there on the face of Ozymandias when he was making that statue a reality. So perhaps the sculptor has taken utmost care in order to make that statue a reality. Now this is the face which is now in a very disfigured state. And on the pedestal, these words appear. My name is Ozymandias, King of Kings, which yet survive, stamped on these lifeless things, the hand that mocked them and the heart that fed. Now the traveler, in fact, has communicated to the poet that somewhere on the pedestal, somewhere on the foundation or on the base of that statue, this line was mentioned, this line was written. My name is Ozymandias, King of Kings. Means, in a way, the poet is mocking the vanity, the pride, the haughtiness, the pomp, the power, the anger, the sternness of Ozymandias in these words. Now it appears as if that the intention of Ozymandias was to mock at the onlooker. So today Ozymandias is no more, neither his statue is there in a very intact form. Now the statue is there, but it is in a disfigured form. But the haughtiness, the pride, the anger, the authority, the superiority somewhere is still intact with that statue, which yet survive, stamped on these lifeless things. Now this the statue is lifeless, but the authority, the power, the anger, the sternness, the vanity perhaps is still there with that statue. The hand that mocked them and the heart that fed. And traveler keeps on intimating the poet that perhaps the sculptor has done a very splendid thing in order to copy the haughtiness, the vanity which was there somewhere with Ozymandias at one point of time. Now, the statue of Ozymandias in its original form. And on the pedestal, these words appear. My name is Ozymandias, King of Kings. Now the poet is using these lines again and again. It seems to us that the poet is again and again using these lines in order to mock at the power and authority Ozymandias was entertaining at one point of time. Now, through this statue, he wanted to become immortal. He wanted to survive till eternity. But perhaps these sort of things has not materialized. And now the statue is in a disfigured state. The poet is mocking at the sense of authority, the sense of vanity which was there in the mind and heart of Ozymandias at one point of time. Now, since P.B. Shelley is a revolutionary poet, he is a poet with liberal ideas and he is with democracy. So, P.B. Shelley thought it a futile exercise in democratic setup to entertain the power and authority. So, thank you very much for watching this beautiful video.